Should read topic number 5 is the world's coolest. Someone's mic is on. I gotta shut that down. The world's coolest dictator. Let's see who we're talking about in this YouTube video.
Outside the police station, worried mothers wait for news of their sons. Thousands of mostly young men have been arrested over the last few weeks as El Salvador tries to clamp down on gang violence. New emergency powers means the police can hold suspects for 15 days without evidence or access to lawyers. And many here claim the roundup is indiscriminate.
A mi hijo lo sacaron de mi casa y son la mayoría, todos los que están ahí, los cientos de cientos, son civiles, son gente trabajadora y honrada.
Trials are secretive, so there is no information until the men are released or sentenced and moved to a prison. Morena Quiteno's son was detained 10 days ago, and she hasn't been able to talk to him since he was arrested at work.
Llevando hasta los inocentes. Y no creo yo que no sepan quiénes son los malos y quiénes son los buenos. No sé, porque ya después ya no se sabe nada de ellos. Solo que ahí están y que ahí están. Pero le doy gracias a mi Dios de que no se lo han mandado para otro lado a mi hijo. Y tengo la fe que ya va a salir mi hijo, primero Dios.
El Salvador has long been known as one of the most violent countries in the world. America deported thousands of criminal gang members back here in the 90s, and the poverty-stricken barrios of the capital have been plagued by turf wars ever since. Enter President Nayib Bukele, El Salvador himself, or at least that's how many here see him, as the savior.
Economic areas will attract investors.
The self-styled tech bro appears as a very modern president. He leads through his social media channels and has made El Salvador the first country in the world to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. But this millennial Dr. Jekyll has another face which he makes no attempt to hide. Bukele once called himself the world's coolest dictator. And since his election in 2019, he's been accused of grabbing power and dismantling democratic institutions.
Estamos en medio de una guerra contra las pandillas.
Human rights groups have condemned his crackdown on gangs, but he continues to talk tough, vowing not to feed prisoners if there are revenge attacks on police.
Hagan eso y no va a haber un tiempo de comida en las cárceles. Uno. A ver cuánto tiempo duran sus homeboys allá adentro. Les juro por Dios que no comen un arroz. Y vamos a ver cuánto tiempo duran. Y no me importa lo que digan los organismos internacionales, que vengan a proteger a nuestra gente. Que vengan a llevarse a sus pandilleros. Si tanto los quieren, se los entregamos todos al 2 por 1.
And there are now a lot of people in prison. More than 20,000 have been arrested in a highly publicized campaign. Bukele's government has dramatically increased sentences for gang activity, up to 45 years for adults and a possible 10 years for children as young as 12. People can also face 15 years in prison for sharing any information on gangs, and this applies to journalists too. I cannot speak to or film anyone who may be considered a gang member and can only join a police operation with permission from the government. Under the state of emergency, they need no warrant to search any house or make an arrest.
¿A mí? No.
But these draconian tactics are popular, not least because El Salvador's notoriously high murder rate has dropped dramatically. In 2015, there was an average of 18 murders a day. Now it's just 3. So President Bukele has many supporters.
que pensábamos que él iba a ser el hombre más diferente que todo. Hay más libertad, pues, porque hoy hay más libertad, no como antes que si uno salía, ¿ves? Pero no, hoy hay más libertad un poco para la gente más honrada, pues.
That evening, another parade of men in handcuffs. The United States has condemned scenes like these, but the government is in no mood to be lectured by the Americans. In the name of fighting communism, the US poured billions of dollars into a 12-year civil war here during the 80s and 90s. The country is still recovering.
Países que nos tomaron durante los últimos 40 años o 50 como un laboratorio para venir a probar sus guerras por otras circunstancias, las condiciones para mantenernos en zozobra como sociedad para que no salgamos adelante, todo eso desaparece. Y nosotros vamos a crear el país que nos merecemos, no el que nos quieran imponer.
Aquí donde nosotros vivimos.
Back in the barrios, I visit the home of Morena Quiteno, who I met outside the police station, waiting for news of her son.
Aquí duerme mi hijo con a las madres que
Morena insists he is not a gang member.
Yo me siento triste porque mi hijo está sufriendo. Estoy pensando de que a qué horas me lo sacan. Él que nunca ha estado en un lugar de eso, me lo vayan a maltratar en otro lugar.
While we are talking, a neighbor interrupts. She has answered Morena's phone.
¿Qué pasó, hija?
Her son has been sentenced.
Ay, Dios mío, por favor, Señor.
He's been found guilty in a closed trial. We don't know what evidence there was against him, if any.
No, Dios mío, por favor.
Morena doesn't know how long her son will be in prison. President Bukele's trampling of basic human rights has appalled onlookers both here and abroad. But gang violence has been a stain on this country for decades, and many Salvadorans are willing to see an extreme solution to an extreme problem.
So I saw, who was it? Was it Nama X? Yeah, Nama said the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, 80 a day isn't that rare either. And, you know, I never realized Puerto Rico had all of that violence. But I shouldn't be surprised because it's a sizable spot. So I shouldn't be that surprised. I remember a time in my hometown, 80 in a year was plenty. And I think Mr. Untouchable could tell me if I'm wrong. I think 80 by March is by February sometime is the norm now. So I remember 80 was plenty at one time ago, but we'll see. Jose, what say you to this?
I thought I was muted. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I mean, the mother had some color, and he had African features in his face. I don't know, man. I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Okay, yeah, that's it. You know, for the rest, you know, Cape Verde, what the United States has done, you know, sent people back, people that were born in the United States, etc. People that only know gang life. They send them back to those countries, and Cape Verde has also this problem of American young men. You know, and I say American conscious because it ain't no Cape Verdeans, you know, and they are sent back to the Cape Verde Islands. They don't even speak the language, let alone and they continue. Violence is I think it's on purpose. I think the United States did this by sending those young men to those countries, right? So and I'm speaking. I'm saying that from my Cape Verdean point of view. It's another destabilization project. I mean, yeah, that's what I have to say, because I actually favor, all that mess that the United States sent back. It needs to be cleaned up. But in this case, I think yeah, maybe he's gathering a workforce for investors in the United States, people that already invest in the prison system in the United States. Maybe they hired him for some cheap labor. I don't know. Whatever is behind it, but what I really wanted to emphasize is that the United States might be doing this on purpose, because we on the Cape Verde Islands have similar type of problems. And I pass the mic.
Thank you for that, Jose. And Jose, thanks for being here too, man. I know it's late where you are. I appreciate you much. Let's mix it up. Let's go to Oni next. Oni, what say you?
Yeah, all right. Yeah. I'm gonna disagree with Tan. Dude does seem cool, you know what I'm saying? Although I mean, me saying he's cool doesn't really mean much, right? But I don't know, right? Zing himself. Yeah, I think I saw the video of him marching these prisoners out. But like, that's the thing that what I want people to take from this, right? Is that when you take over a nation, you really do take over a nation. A lot of us seem to think, I mean, because even in the comments, I think Narma is saying the guy is just a puppet, for whatever reason. But it's like, it's not always the case that you're a puppet or this is neocolonialism or some yada yada. It could just be that this is what you believe and this is how you execute it. I'm not saying that he doesn't have, obviously everybody has some sort of backing somewhere, right? Like you don't really, in a world, like in the real world, somebody has backing somewhere. You know what I mean? Like we just went over Thomas Edison had support. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has some supporter somewhere. But, I mean, unless you're by yourself, but then you wouldn't be on the top or whatever. But all the same, I want us to realize that, if we see a problem on the continent, we see a problem in Africa, we see a problem somewhere, we are the ones to solve it. This man, it's just like if you said who was the cool, by the way, I actually take issue with people saying something about why do they have guns if they don't have gun factories? I mean, because they bought the guns. You know what I mean? Like people with gun factories sell guns. That's what they do. They don't just keep them. You know what I mean? So people with guns factories are selling guns, and that's why other people without gun factories have guns. The same way other people without car factories have cars. Or other people without corn farms have corn. Or you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, I don't want to belabor the point, but what I'm saying is that, yeah, I mean, you don't just have guns because you make them, just like, yeah, I mean, like, it's just, we're in a global economy. And I'm not saying that people, bought them or whatever, but I mean, it actually went over the fact that a lot of guns are remnants of America fighting a war there for like 12 years, fighting a civil war there for 12 years. Or like contributing to the civil war there for 12 years, really the Cold War. But anyway, what I was saying was that we as African people, we have to realize that the destiny of our people could be in our hand, because just like Kagame came up in Rwanda during the during the Rwandan genocide and established his power there, from there, this individual could have been in a war-torn gang violence El Salvador and probably got his money somewhere and said, let me go back and try to bring my people out of this. And he does it. And that's the thing about real life, is that if you feel like you can, it's kind of like what Marcus Garvey said, you can accomplish what you will. And that's what we have to, like, I think that's the takeaway that I get from this, that, we as a generation of people, we can do stuff. Just like in Nigeria, like Peter Obi, if he had won, I'm not saying that he would have been some radical, blah, 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 but it's different from Tinubu winning. So, you just have to take that for what it is,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Oni.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Narma said, bought so that country controls you. No. You just bought something from somebody. It doesn't mean you. All right, anyway. All right, that's it. Sorry.
You're there. I guess Trigger Happy has something to say. He says, I mean, so would you consider those mestizos black? Oh, no, he's talking African. My bad. Thanks for that, Oni. This liquor starting to get to me, I guess. Let me, again, mixing it up. Let me go to Real Black Gentleman. What say you?
Hey, I mean, how do I say it? I mean, there's always going to be dynamics. I mean, I don't really have any skin in the game per se. If you have, I mean, the question is, does the gang activity outweigh, you know what I'm saying, like the actual country? I mean, people should not be, incarcerated for no reason without evidence or anything like that. I'm never for that. And then you're basically taking some of your most productive people who could potentially be, free, vibrant citizens outside of the society, and basically, they probably doing, labor in the prisons. They don't want to talk about that. I'm trying to figure out, like, it's always a thorny issue when you're talking about people who have popular support and they do things that other people who may not find that person agreeable more and more encroaching upon liberties of individuals. Like I look at this and it's like, on the surface, it looks bad. I'm not going to say it's all bad. I'm not going to sit here and vouch for El Salvador. I just, this is precautionary of how you don't want to find yourself in situations where, again, we're talking about gang violence. You just people just what is the benefit of? I mean, I can understand young people, they gather together. I mean, it happens everywhere, but it never seems to be. I mean, the only reason that you would have young people do that is because they're trying to go out in their relative areas and make the most of it. You're going to click up and you're going to get into something. I mean, that's something that is something that I would not say. There's better ways to dampen that energy. I mean, I don't know what's motivating the murders there, but I mean, a lot of that has to do with poverty. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get something from someone else and willing to rob and kill in order to get it. It's like you understanding how the United States goes into these places, like, destabilizes. It's kind of hard. I mean, if I'm in the country and it's a dynamic situation, I'm at 0.0, and it's this dynamic where my people are going around marauding each other, let alone an outside people. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you have to do things that you have to pull on the brakes and like embrace for as soft of an impact at a glancing blow as you can in order to make the train stop, because just the brakes alone ain't gonna cut it. You almost have to try to jump the track and hit something. It's wild. It's like you got to do. I'm just saying. And so, like, I would only encourage, that people who really are not guilty, I don't want them just to lock up young, virile young men. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, let's keep it a buck. There's ways to throw in nuance in all of this, but I need those people who are just going around because they feel like they can do what they want. I mean, this is where, as when we're talking about manhood, like, you have to be able to constrain that stuff to a degree. You have to focus that energy. You have to, or otherwise you're throwing yourself into I mean, which can be exciting, but is it productive? You know what I'm saying? And I'm on you.
I've been appreciating your responses tonight. Real Black Gentleman a lot. I appreciate you being here. And by the way, Real Black Gentleman pops up on all these shows on KWAZ Radio. I would hope that, and Nama X too. Nama X shows up on probably all the shows out there. I hope you guys would start patronizing those other shows like Bakari's show, Consider Cheek, Kanzan on Tuesdays, Forecast at random times during the week. And, I'm forgetting the Harsh Rowdy podcast. Support him too. When those guys come on, Lero's a part of that group. So support them. And last but not least, make sure you support, Oni as well, right? With that said, that was Real Black Gentleman. Let's hear from Bwana Hagaziki. Bwana, what say you?
Yeah, so for me, I'm not first of all, let me make a declaration. I'm not a bleeding heart liberal person. I say lock these fuckers up forever. And the reason why I say that is, first of all, El Salvador was the country that had the highest murder rate in the world. And that's bar war-torn countries. El Salvador was awash with gang violence and things like that. People can't live a so-called good life because you have the United States, because they are primarily to blame for flushing the toilets, MS-13. MS-13 is, well, everyone knows what MS-13 is. It's a big gang, big Spanish style gang. So they learn many things in the United States. Many of these guys were locked up in the United States, and after their prison sentences, they was deported. So you have a big problem in this country now. Where you have some of these people they don't even know anything about El Salvador. Anything about El Salvador. They grew up in the United States of America. So you send them back now, and they engage in gangster lifestyles in this so-called poor country. And the people don't know what to do about the situation because they ain't never seen this type of violence before. Never seen it. And what it would do, it would undermine the civil society. So if the United States government, in solving their problem in the United States, are having MS-13, they flush the toilets of the prisons and allow these people to come, deport these people back to these countries, and these people not understanding what these guys was getting into in the Americas, the solution is to lock their asses up. Lock their asses up forever. Because when the mother go into the grocery store, she get raped in El Salvador. You think the Americans care? Or when a little child get his head blown off, for just walking to school in the morning, the Americans don't care about that. So this is a El Salvador solution to the problem that was created primarily by the United States of America. These guys are expatriates, and many of them are expatriates. So I don't see nothing wrong with locking their asses up. And see, the nefarious nature of this particular clip is, at the end of the clip, you see this old lady, the brothers in the chat call Moreno, black Spanish lady, Moreno. And you feel sympathetic for the fact that this guy got a long prison sentence. Well, wait a minute. You don't know what he did. Many of these guys, where they lock these guys up, if you have a MS-13 tattoo on you, that means you have an affiliation with that gang. You know what I mean? You have an affiliation. And usually, to get in these kinds of gangs, you probably would have had to murder someone. And some of these mamas, they cloak these little gangsters. You see it all over the world. Women cloak their sons, girlfriends cloak their boyfriends. And you go to any prison, you see on the outside of these prisons is you see women, older women, younger women, waiting to see their boyfriends, their sons, their whatever. But while they were committing these crimes, you didn't hear the outrage. You didn't see them bring them before the police departments and say, well, hey, this my boy just murdered someone for a color TV. There it is. You know what I mean? Or my boyfriend just gave me this gold chain. Who he pop off a woman hand while she was trying to get to her job in the morning. He steal it first. You know, you don't hear the hue and cry from these women because they benefit. So spare me the sympathy or the crocodile tears of the women now when it all come to a zenith point where they're locking up these men for committing outrageous crimes in the societies, which some of these women have been benefiting from for years. You know what I mean? They'll lay down with the man who murdered a couple of people because they benefit off of it. And are we supposed to feel sorry for her crocodile tears? Spare me. Spare me. If they come to the country and try to mash up the society, well, this is the consequences of that. If you want to live in a civilized society, well, here's what we do here. So I applaud this man. I think that more African countries and even America, well, I mean, even go to America, but I think more, even Caribbean countries need to do it. Lock their blood clot asses up. Because I see many expatriates come to this country as well and try to mash up the island too. It's not to suggest that the inhabitants of these places don't commit crimes either. But sometimes you see the crime and it escalates because they learn things in these so-called first world countries that they wouldn't necessarily know in the so-called third world countries. And the police them pulling their hair out trying to resolve these issues because they don't want to seem to the rest of the world like, oh, we are transgressing human rights. Oh, these guys are civil rights. These guys they acting like animals. If you act like an animal, I'm gonna treat you like an animal. I'm gonna treat you like an animal. Lock their blood clot asses up. Why? Because let me tell you something. If they murder my mom on the streets of the Bahamas, my brother, I ain't getting to the release. I'm not getting the release to find you. Even if you in the house with your mom. So it would be better for him to resolve to this kind of resolution rather than the people taking it upon themselves to exact what they consider to be justice. And you really have a situation on your hands. You know what I mean? Because, like I say, this country doesn't manufacture these guns. So how these guns get here? These guys, these so-called first world countries play these little games where they try to undermine these third world societies because they want people to forever be in debt to them. You know what I mean? So this solution, I feel, is a good solution, and I think that this solution should spread out around the so-called third world, And if it seems like it is tough, so be it. So be it. Because if it comes to my country, and try to mash up my island or mash up the country that I'm trying to foster good relationships and build a civil community, I'm gonna put your ass in prison forever. And your mother could cry death tears because what these people would do on the streets of El Salvador or any African country or any Caribbean country is way worse. It's way worse. That's the part of the story you don't hear. So these people talking about, oh, he's being a dictator because he's transgressing these guys' civil rights, as if they was angels. As if they was angels. All these guys are imprinted, they tattooed up, ready to blow your head off or your grandmother head off, you know what I mean, to take what she has, you know, to give either to themselves or their girlfriends or their mamas. I have no kind of sympathy for what's going on in these countries because I understand it, you know, but I'll stop there because I'm on a rant right now.
No, Bonnie, you good. Bonnie, what's the murder rate right now in the hometown?
That's a difficult question. I think it's maybe like, maybe 200. Whatever Jamaica is, we go down, we like 10% of that. So
Okay.
if it's like 2,000 per year in Jamaica, 200 in Bahamas, we go down, we 10% of whatever Jamaica is. Unfortunately, okay. I'm sorry, Oni.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, yeah. We ain't trying to shade you, Oni. We ain't trying to shade you. And I could remember, Bonnie, when I was a kid, man, I can remember the numbers to be like 12 and all kind of stuff like that at some points, you know? It's crazy to see how things have changed.
These guys, Coco, these guys on the streets right now, They have military style assault
I see that.
weapons.
Yeah.
How do you go up there? Because the regular policemen on the street used to have one pop gun. You know what I mean? Them revolvers. How do you go up against somebody with a military style? Come on, man. Come on,
Yeah,
you
man.
outgunned. So what's the solution? You know what I mean? So I would say if you have to be heavy-handed within your community to resolve an issue, I would go heavy-handed. Too bad if the outside community don't like it. Too bad. Middle finger to y'all.
Yeah, man. I agree with you 100%. Let's hear from Carl. Then, no, actually, is Uzuli still here? Or Uzuli gone
Yeah,
again?
yeah, I'm here, man.
Oh, okay, Uzuli. Go ahead. What say you to this? The world's coolest dictator. Would you like this kind of guy in Haiti?
Yo, I don't know how cool he is. I don't know this, but I know I agree 300% with what he's doing. If they say the murder rate went from 98 something to 3% or whatever, to 3 people, yo, I agree 100%. Like, get the out of here. Like, and I agree with everything what Boana Agazigi said is facts. And this is the thing I didn't understand about that video. This man just said that you need special permission to talk to people, and you can't interview. And he went and did something that's against what they told him to do. Now he has this lady coming crying. So what? I don't care. And again, they do that on purpose. This is how they use it. They go to the woman, they have the woman cry on TV so people could feel emotionally towards her, and then go and try to discredit this man. No, bro. The MS-13 killed a couple, like, in Long Island, and the 10 years ago, like, maybe, these dudes were creating havoc in New York and Long Island. And when they do their murders, they don't do it like they shoot people in the head. They chop people off. So me and Boana, I agree with him 300%. I don't care. Your son, like he just said, your son is out there killing other people's sons, killing other people's mother, but you don't have an issue with that. Now you want to cry? Your son didn't do anything? I can't stand mothers who do that. And how selfish can you be? So your son is out there committing crime, destroying the neighborhood, destroying the country, but you don't. No, he's doing his 45 to life. And I don't know if this man is using this as propaganda or as to build like a prison industrial system for America. I don't know. But what I just heard, they said the crime went down by a lot. So if you're out there committing crime, killing people, and the members 13, they use machetes to kill people. So is this president cool? I don't know if he's cool, but I have no issue with what he did. And that's why I could never understand how you have a country, you have a military, and you letting gang runs your country. Isn't the military supposed to have more powerful guns than the gangs? What this president, this should have been happening in all these little South American countries, including the Caribbean. How is a gang have more powerful gun than the country? You know why what it is? Then you know what? All these politicians are in bed with those gang members. What next? What I want him to see, arrest people for the corruption that was participating with those gang members. So I have no issue with why is he a cool president? I don't know, but I have no issue with what he did. And that mother crying on there, I don't feel. Get your ass out there with your bum ass son. Oh, he got 45 years. And you see, this is a hit piece. How they let you inside to do your report, and then you find a way to attack the president. You would have been in jail for that. You would have had to do a little 5 to 10. But I don't have no issue with what's going on, because at the end of the day, you out there making the life of other people hard. People have to work hard to get up to go to work, and you doing all these crime. Nah, man, I have no issues with that. That's it. I'll pass the mic.
Zoe, hang with us until the end, all right? And I appreciate you bringing someone new in the chat who was a big contributor tonight. He probably fell asleep by now, but I appreciate you bringing someone new through tonight. I appreciate all you guys who bring new people who might be lurking in the background or listening to the play. Let's hear from Tanzan, then Carl.
Yeah, for me, I see everybody looking the same to me. So I'm going to say that I'm just outside looking in. So, yeah, but on the other hand, yeah, if he's cleaning up his, the country and, getting rid of, the criminals and the scum and the gangs and so on, and he has the people support, good for him. But to me, it's like, firstly doing something when it's, punishing the last people to, to indulge in it when, like someone was saying that the government, the criminals are more organized than the government. Well, the criminals were always funded by outside forces, not just the things that they would be doing. And it was also actually funded on both sides. So I think that, if he really wants to do the cleanup, he should start with the people at the top. It looks to me as if, you're punishing the people like the drug dealers in the streets instead of going after the suppliers. There's constantly going to be, yeah, you can keep the crime rate down if you keep all the criminals in jail, but if you don't change the circumstances and the big players at the top, all you're doing is just funneling people, and it looks like there's a lot of them. Look at that. Wow, okay, fine. I guess all of them are criminals. They just had a very highly criminal society. That's what I have to imagine about that. But if it's a regular society, there has to be some economic, reasons for it. I'm not giving them excuses before, Zuli and jump on me, but I'm saying, is it normal really to have a society of so many criminals? Like just hordes and hordes of young men just being, rounded up and put in prisons. Like either they're just a terribly bad people, or, there's something that's funneling this crime rate, which we know what it is. So I think that if we really wanted to make a difference, is not to lock up all the criminals, it's actually to, deal with the causes that cause, those high levels of criminality. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Thank you.
Dan, I appreciate that. Carl, you're going to get the last word potentially on this. I just want to quickly say, you guys really make this show something. All of you panelists in the chat. And for the sake of you guys is why I have to make it really become something more than, 20 people listening to the live, more than the 100 and, 200 people or whatever that listen to the playback. You guys make it something. So I want you guys to have faith in this, stick around, be a participant or participative in this endeavor. And let's make this, because we need more people hearing these thoughts and these conversations and the passions and stuff like that. So I just want to say that. Carl, I'll let you say what you got to say, and then anyone who wants to have a last word before we do our last prompt tonight, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll make this short. As some of the other people have said, El Salvador has one of the highest murder rates on earth, and of course, this is a horrible situation in this country. MS-13 originated in El Salvador. It originated in the United States. People brought back that violence to El Salvador. The country is awash with guns from the Civil War. Many times, the United States is, the U.S. helped fund one side of the in the conflict because it was a war. Basically, some Salvadorians decided they wanted to have socialism, especially during Ronald Reagan's time. That wasn't going to happen. So they funded the right-wing forces, and they brought war to this country. So, long story short, this is a bad situation because, you do have this outrageous crime and people getting murdered and a high murder rate. But at the same time, I'm looking at with this young man's mother. You have a secret trial where you don't have any evidence. You're not allowed to see the prisoner. So all we have is the state's word that he did this. And I'm looking at all these people who are getting locked up. I don't see any white people. I'm seeing all indigenous people, all Mazitos. I'm seeing all of them. I don't see any, people of a lighter skin color getting locked up. So while I understand the need for progressive measures, and I do understand that this is a very serious situation, we can't just lock up people, send them and lock them in jail without any evidence. You walking down the street, hey, get that guy. He's probably doing something. He fits the agenda. That we can't. That's not right, you know. And living in the United States, I'm not gonna be one to really, I can't really criticize another country because I mean, look at us. America does that shit all the time. So, and we don't have anywhere near the murder rate that El Salvador does. So, drastic times call for drastic measures. But at the same time, I don't want to have people's rights, have innocent people get locked up and there's no evidence that they've committed a crime. And if you have evidence they did something, show it. Why have a secret trial? Why have it so but people can't speak for them? If they did something, prove it. If this man is gang affiliated and he's done something wrong, then prove it. Prove your case, let him go to jail. But to me, all this rounding up people, it's very draconian, it's very oppressive. And if they did the crime, lock them up. But to me, you have show the evidence you did the crime. Don't just lock up people. And then you don't even know how long they're sentenced for. All they're gonna do is go to jail. When they come out, they're gonna be even more hardened criminals than they were when they went in. That's what happens when you send somebody to prison like that. For those who he goes to jail, he gets locked up, he comes out, he's innocent. He's been dealing with some real hardened criminals. So as far as him being a cool dictator, I don't think there's a cool dictator. I don't even think I would be careful anybody who's taking that label of being a cool dictator. But I understand El Salvador is in a bad position, and they have to do what they have to do to protect their people. But at the same time, you can't trample on the rights of the citizens in that country. If you have information, you have a trial, have a trial. Do things the right way. But that's just my thought. I'm looking at it from living in the suburbs in the United States. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not dealing with that level of violence that they do on a daily basis. I don't have to worry about my mother, for the most part, getting shot while she's at the grocery store, or getting attacked and robbed like that. So from the outside looking in, I don't want to be too judgmental, but just when you're doing your cleanup, you still have to protect the rights of your citizens, and that's all I'm gonna say.
I appreciate you, Carl, for that insight. Jose, you wanted to talk about his name. His name is Naib, I guess. What did you want to add? And then anyone who wants to add anything after Jose speaks can add. Jose, what did you want to add there?
I want to add that you need a non-native leader for those draconian types of laws. Because you're not connected, and Najib is North African Middle Eastern name. His father is Palestinian Christian who converted to Islam. There you go. So you need a guy from Austria to clean up Germany, right? If you know what I'm saying. So you need a guy from the Middle East to clean up this country, right?
That's a good point. Go ahead, Jose. Talk your shit. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, and again, also another connection is of course with Tunisia. I mean, people picked that up, right? What's happening in Tunisia?
Expand on that for me, Jose.
The prime said that something about the demography changing because of black Africans moving into the country, and people started attacking blacks after the prime minister said that. So there you go. An ancient enemy is rearing its head.
Yeah.
I wanna respond to what Carl said just now, because
go for it.
His commentary was very measured, and I appreciate what Carl said. Because he understood that he is looking from primarily an American lens, but and I understand his perspective, having lived in the United States. So I understand the perspective, and it was extremely measured. You want to ensure the so-called the human rights and civil rights of individuals, and you want to ensure that due process is is um is exacted on individuals. I understand that from his perspective, but I understand my man perspective too, because when you living in a guerrilla style society, you know what I mean. I'm looking at the first MFer who I see with an MS-13 tattoo on him, and I'm saying, yeah, well, this gang is a murderous gang who rapes and pillages, and I don't give a shit about your human rights. You know what I mean? Because I have to live the experience. You know what I mean? So, and I understand that there are certain things that's gonna get curtailed, like so-called human rights and civil rights and shit like that. I don't need to run the gambit of that. That takes too long for me in my particular situation. But looking from an American lens, you have to go through that process. So I really appreciate the things that he said, but I could see things from the two perspectives, because in his society, in KWAZ society, there are checks and balances, and in the United States, they ensure that the checks and balances, for what it's worth, for whoever you want to put it on, black people, white people, you ensure that the checks and balances happen to individuals. But in some countries, they call it third world or banana republic or whatever. Them checks and balances are not there. So when they are not there, how do you resolve or bring about a solution to an immediate problem? So how you go about it is going to be different. So, but I appreciate his commentary, but I understand both perspectives. But I'll leave it there.
Let me just add. I want to say, one, I could have told from this lady's body language, that her son wasn't innocent. You know what I mean? Like I knew that from just body language.
I was thinking that. But go ahead.
Exactly. I don't know. Like, look at this boy was already in a prison jumper or something. He's already in stripes now, Justin. But like her, because it's like she's way too nervous. She's like, oh, my son was picked up. Because if your son's innocent, I mean, yeah, if your son's innocent, you already know. Like you're not even tripping. But I'm pretty sure whatever. What I could say is this though. I'm surprised that the resident communist, doesn't want the state to have too much authority. But for real though, I think what
capitalist, right?
Huh?
The resident capitalist, you mean?
No, communist. I'm talking about Carl. Carl was like the states. He's like, the states are stretching too much. I don't trust the state. And you're like, what? But no, but like, I mean, like even to what Carl was saying about, the because I don't think they said that the state had no evidence. I think they just said it was a closed trial, which is a thing that happens. Like not everybody has access to court cases, especially of court cases of sensitive information, especially in what would be considered martial law. Like if America announces martial law tomorrow over whatever reason, it's not going to have open trials. Because in a situation like that, you can't use the same peacetime customs, because one, you don't know, like you have active gang members who are going to be looking to see what evidence is out there, investigating.
And they murder witnesses, Tony. They murder witnesses.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you know who the witness is, exactly. Like there's so much. Yeah, there's so much in play that you wouldn't, so on and so forth. So I think that the state did have evidence. I think that the state just and look now all of a sudden I'm agreeing with the state, right? No, but I think the state had witnesses. I mean, had evidence, had witnesses. They just had closed trial because again, they have so many gang members, and the gang members have so much weaponry, and not just that. As Barnum was pointing out, these gang members are not even like your run of the mill. Like they are chop your body up gang members. They're not pop you 2 times or accidentally shoot you. Like straight bullet kill you. These are so. I mean, didn't they just kill those? I mean, I don't know if it's the same gang. I know it's in Mexico, but they just killed like 4 Americans, Black Americans killed 2 of them, and a lady down the street, a Mexican woman down the street, just over some bullshit, So it's like, yeah, you can't. It's kind of like the whole, I think George Bush said you can't negotiate with terrorists, So when we talk about, rights and whatnot, I mean, I'm not saying I'm against rights or whatever, but it's like the ends justify the means. People are trying to live peacefully, and I would just want to just emphasize and stress again that it's sometimes the mothers, right, who are who are harboring these criminals, harboring these gangbangers, and then when they get arrested over it, right, instead of clapping and applauding, they oh well, my boy's not that bad. No, your boy is awful.
My good, my good son. They say my good son, not my good son.
I know, right? You see how she showed a picture of him? She showed a picture of him from like when he was like 4. Like you showed like a 4-year-old picture. Like this boy is 20-something years old. He ain't no damn good if the only good picture of him you got is when he was 4 years old. You know what I mean? Like come on. I mean 14 or whatever, but still, like clearly, the dude is doing what needs to be done. And I mean, I just think that the other side of it, as far as the closed trials is concerned, it's particularly because they murder witnesses, particularly because so on and so forth, particularly because they can sabotage evidence, they can see who's pleading against who's the lawyer for what. Like, you have to protect your legal system as well, and you don't need this mother there because you don't even know if she's in on the game. And I'm not saying that she is, but what if somebody she knows is, or her brother is, or so on and so forth? Like there's so much at stake. And so I think that everything that's being done right now, like the guy is just like the end justify the means. And I think that he's showing that. Because I mean, he's not like he didn't reduce the crime rate.
I appreciate that. That's true, only. I appreciate that.
My thing, I have a question. Brother Carl said, "Oh, all he don't see white skin. All I see is pale skins getting arrested. I don't understand why he said he don't see, or he sees dark people. Where the dark people he talking about?"
I said brown people. These are not Europeans. These are definitely indigenous people. These are not Europeans who are getting locked up like this.
So are you saying the president is European?
Yeah, he doesn't look. Does he look like he's from Latin America? I mean, does he look like he's of any type of indigenous?
So if he was born in El Salvador, if he's second generation from El Salvador, that doesn't mean he's from the country. I don't get it.
Nah, he's still from his it's like what Malcolm said about the kittens in the oven. He's still from
that's not the point. The point is the rule of the country. Because if you are third generation born in that country, you're able to hold office. So what are we talking about?
That's not really my point I'm trying to make about him holding office. I'm talking about just the general, just like in the United States, most people who get locked up are black people. Most people who get locked up are the people who the race that's considered to be, on the bottom lower end. So again, I'm just wondering, are they just locking everybody up because they think they belong in a gang, or are these people actual criminals? That's just my concern. My concern is, are people who actually committing the crimes getting locked up? Are you just locking up random people just like you're doing your job?
When I look at the video, it's not by accident that they only have the women talking on behalf of those crooks. I don't see the men that talk on my son got arrested. It's mostly women talking here and there because they're trying to trigger you. So we could start like this is a whole human right violation, and then take that man out for his violating human rights. If that's not unless they're lying, unless it's straight up propaganda, he said the murder rate went down. So I mean, I get if you say, oh, don't be rounding up people and putting them in there, but we all know, and different countries have different rules. I don't feel so because I don't believe. I'm like with Oni number one. I don't believe this lady's son is a good guy. They tell you if you're affiliated with you're doing life. You're doing the prison term.
Oni didn't say the son was a good guy though.
No, I said Oni. I agree with Oni. Oni said that the mother are just using acting like their sons are good when their sons are not good. And
I don't
I
think
don't
we have
understand.
enough information to make that determination, though. I mean, how
So
can you
where do you get your information that they railroaded him?
I never said they railroaded him,
But
but
you are
I'm
talking
saying
like.
if the people are, if you have evidence that he committed the crime, show it. Then we can make the
But
determination.
what
No,
I'm saying, both of us, you saying I don't have enough information. But where do you get your information to imply that you feel like they're railroading him?
again, this is I'm speaking from a purely American perspective, and technically, and I know it's not real, but a person is innocent until proven guilty. So if he's guilty, if he's committed the crime, let's see the evidence. And then lock him up if it shows he's guilty. But you throw somebody in jail, you don't let him speak to a lawyer, you won't let his family speak to him. I don't know. I got a problem with that type of method.
But
It's
there's
not right.
there's nowhere they say in there that he did not speak to a lawyer. They say they have a closed trial because, like Oni said and Bawana said, these gang members intimidated people's lives. A witness could get killed. They don't want their police. They don't want other gang members to know where the lawyer is, where the DEA is, or where the come. All right. Well, me, I don't have any issues with it. Like this fuck us up. That's all I think.
Quick
Wait,
question.
let me add this actually.
Wait, hold on.
Right.
Sorry, hold on. I'm gonna let you say a piece, but I have a quick question for the panel after Oni speaks and for the chat. I have one more topic I could do. Do you want to do one more topic after Oni speaks? It's up to you guys, or you want me to cut it off at 2 a.m. and call it a night? I'll let Oni speak, and then I'll see what the answer is at the end. Oni, go ahead.
Yeah, so there was that guy. I can't remember his name. The pedophile. I think he was a pedophile. He was he had an island. And he like got suicided and
Epstein.
Yeah. So I think it was like the judge for Epstein's case. Like some assassin came over to her house and tried to kill her, but ended up killing her husband or some shit like that.
The son, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the husband and the son, I think, right? Or just the son, and then the assassin killed himself or some shit like that. Like that's the real world, you know? So I mean, again, like when Carl says, let's see the evidence, right? It's not saying that there's nobody says that there is no evidence. What they're saying is that it's a closed trial. And they're saying that the evidence is presented in the trial, and then the person is either found innocent or guilty. You know what I mean? I would imagine. I mean, obviously, I'm not there. I would imagine they're very meticulous. They're very discriminating. They really want to see who's innocent versus who's guilty. And as far as the question of why is the ethnic makeup not, European American or whatever, or European whatever, I don't know what the ethnic makeup of El Salvador is in terms of Europeans. But also it's like, just common sense for me is that white people are, while they might participate in drug trafficking, right? They're not necessarily the underlings in the drug enterprise. You know what I mean? Like not generally. So like, even if you go to Chicago in America, if you were to say, let's round up all the violent drug, like gangbangers, right? You probably wouldn't round up a bunch of white people. Not because white people are not as violent, not because so on and so forth, but generally speaking, if you're dealing in, like, if you're a if you're a person of means in a violent enterprise, you're probably not personally risking your life.
You're nowhere close to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Kiba was saying about labor versus capital. Like if technically in the gang environment, the gangbangers are the labor, and so yeah, you would arrest the labor. Now I understand the reasoning behind why don't you just arrest the capital, which is a good idea too. And I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. But if the purpose was to round up the people, the offending party, it would definitely be like the people who are going to shoot up near your house. It would definitely be those people. You could get into the metaphysical the metaphysical argument and make it more than it is, or you could just say kind of like what Gary was saying about the poor whites attacking us. Now there could be some socialist rhetoric that says, oh no, it's really the rich whites who are funding the division, maybe, but realistically the person with the noose is that poor white boy, and I think that's I think the closed trial idea is actually for the safety of everybody involved, because if you are open about how you're doing things, like your whole shit could be sabotaged.
Yep. All right. So pardon me?
Did somebody say something? But yeah, that's what happened with Epstein. That's what I would say.
Yeah. So Nama X says one more topic is good if people got time. I'll go with the panel. What does the panel say? You want to do this FBA topic or not?
No, go for it. We can keep it short.
Go for it. Yeah, I'm ready.
You sure it could go on 10 minutes? I don't think it could go on 10. The video's probably like, how long is the video?
No, it's the video short. As long as you cut only off with it, bloviating, you should be able to finish. You should be able to finish like 2:30.